Hi guys, I'm back again. In this particular video, we'll be developing the validation for the payment request. Okay, so we'll be handling these issues. We'll be adding the sender and receiver accounts exist, the account status, and the max transfer does not exist, a configured value. Okay, as part of the payment use case, we'll be adding these validations rules, and then for this particular implementation. We'll be operating this payment use case and adding those validation source. Okay, so to do the sender and accounts receiver account exists, we need to use the account repository, of course, to check if that entry exists in our repository or not. So I'll just inject this account repository inside the payment use case. Okay, so let's modify the account repository. Contract. So basically what we can do is like simply we can say the if exist is it will be a check so instead of trying to do the find by and then it exists or something like that, we can simply say that is account number is exist or not. Okay, so in this way we can use this contract to verify that thing. So basically let's do that. Okay, if the account repository is exists payment dot get account number, sender account number. Not, then we have to throw the exceptions and then we cannot do anything, right? Because there is no sender account in my system. So throw new or throw account not found exceptions of the account number is payment dot get sender account number. And what we can do is if let's say the not account repository that is exist payment dot get receiver account number, then what we can do is like the account, okay, is payment dot get receiver account number. Fine. So we can simply mm, extract this to a method saying that simply saying that the validate, let's say validate sender and receiver account exist. All right, so we're done. Fine. So as part of the second thing, we need to make sure that the status is fine. So to do that, what we'll be doing again, we'll be going back to the repository and saying that boolean is exist. Okay. Now we'll be checking the second thing. So account number, simply account number. Okay. So account number, and then account number, and then with the account status. Okay. So normally, I prefer to have these kinds of methods because in your account model, if you see the account number is always unique, and the combination of account number and status is again going to be unique because account number is always unique, right? So it will be just a lookup uh, into the table, or if we are going to cast this information, then it will be a lookup in a, let's say, map, or it will be a lookup inside the table. So doing this, it will be just check like if there is the account exists or not. So uh, I normally prefer to have in this way. All right. So repository, account repository, that is exists. So we're interested to say that the both of the sender and account status should be account status that open, right? So and then the again the same thing. If this is not valid, what I'm going to do? If this is not open, so I'll be doing like something like this through new, right? So now it's time to add for new exception. So basically it's account not found. So account is account status not valid, or let's say account status account is not open, or let's say something like that. Okay, account is closed. So account is closed, or let's say you cannot do the payment transfer or something. So the account number is not open or something like that. So basically, we can be as much as explicit about the error responses. I think so. Account is closed, exception of the payment dot get sender account, right? We don't have to do the new. Simply throw this, and we're done. So simply it goes back to the per the receiver as well. So receiver account number. If this is not the open, then you are going to do the same thing. So we have done the same thing. Simply let's put put this as inside the extract method to be a validate. Say as a sender and receiver account status. All right. So we did the two things. Now we have to make sure that the payment limit is not uh, exceeds, exceeds, right? So in that case, what we can do is we can have the private final as, let's say, the or big decimal, right? mm, as the max transfer limit, and then and this is the variable that we're going to get, and then what we'll be saying is that if the payment dot get amount uh, compared to, right, or even what we can say is that, let's say, the compared to, so if you compare, and then if this guy is less than this, so is equals to minus 1, I think, right? So 0, 1, and minus 1. So okay, yeah, I mean less than 0, yeah. So if this is less than 0, then what we need to throw the exceptions that are saying that, and the again the maximum amount. Let me create another exception saying that max payment amount exit. Perfectly fine. So saying that, we'll say max payment amount exit word of account number, or let's say the max payment is account number. We can say that saying that the account max, let's say the transfer payment exits max payment amount, and then we'll give the value, something like that. So is a, let's say, the big decimal of value is a transfer amount, or let's say amount, right? So yeah, okay, we'll give the amount, something like that. So this is the amount that is this guy is. Uh, okay, and then saying this, what we will be doing here is like, okay, so this is the max transfer limit. So I'll give you this, and then we're done. So yeah, let's again extract this to be extract, and so validate max limit transfer limit, right? So yeah, the checks are very we are done the checks. We are done the validate sender account exists. We have the account status, max transfer. So we are doing in very normal way now. So but yeah, I think this is fine since we are doing all of these checks, and then um, yeah, this is pretty much fine. Okay, whenever we are just interested to check if the account number exists, then we are directly doing that. We are not getting any data out of the repository or something like that. We're just checking if give me the information if this guy is exists or not. Again, saying the same thing, exists or not, and then we're checking the balance. If everything is fine, then I'm going to say that okay. So yeah, this is the saved. I give you the assign as a set, and please save me this payment as a in a repository, something like that. So now, whenever we initialize this as part of the config, we need to make sure of three things. We need to pass the payment repository, also account repository. We have yes, so we have to use the account repository, and also one value which should be like, let's say, big decimal of what this is the max transfer limit, right? So max transfer limit amount. So in this case, what we can do is like account repository max transfer limit, and we have to get this value as the spring from the environment variable. So there is the annotation to do that. I think is a value. So if we can access this parameter, something like that, saying that if we define this to be a application dot properties. Okay, so saying that, let's say the payment dot credit, let's say we are doing the credit now, max transfer amount. So it's let's say the something like this. Okay, you can do this, or even let's say the 5,000 for now. All right, so once we use this key, all right, inside the um, payment config, then we're good to go. And this is, I think, is we need to be a $100. So yeah, so this way we'll be accessing this variable, and then we'll providing in the use cases, and use case will do the things for us. Okay, and going back to the, so we need to make sure that we have written the things correct or something like that. So account repository. So this is the account repository, and also you can have one. Let's move this one, and let's define one variable called private final the max transfer big decimal m- max transfer limit is big decimal dot 10. Pretty much fine, right? So let's give that this guy to here and max transfer limit. Okay, so now we need to make sure that as part of the apply, what we are doing, we need to mock few things. Okay, so mockito dot when. So first of all, what we have to say is that when repository the save comes last, all right. So there is a payment. I receive the payment. So what I will be doing, repository, account repository basically. So account repository, then is exist by account number, any string. Let's say the yeah, or what we can do is, let's say, uh, the sender account number is 2, and the receiver account number is 3. Fine. And then, yeah, so we can, while building this payment, we can give the sender account number to be a sender account number, and then the receiver account number to be a receiver account number, something like that. And once we give this, we can say that, okay, if it exists, sender account number, then return true, because we are trying to validate the valid condition for now. So again, going back to this guy, and receiver account number, and then the same thing. So let's say Control T, and then this exists account number and status account status that open. Yeah, this the both of the status are open, which is also fine. So these are the valid scenarios we need to make sure. So the last thing is your payment amount is less than 10. So I'll just say the payment amount is big decimal dot 1. All right. So yeah, fine. Yeah, this is pretty much fine. So we did it, and whenever we did that, the status is apply, and then you are going to verify. You call this, then this, and this, and so yeah, Mockito dot verify. You call the account repository that it exists, something like that, and the account number is, or even what you can say is like that verify times, I think, and times 2 with any string, any uh, mokito.any string. We can do that as well. This is not a times. Yeah, yeah. So again, we can do the same thing like is exists because any string and any status, something like that. Or you want to make sure that mokito.eq, you can use eq and then say that account status dot open. So this guy has checked 2 times for the things that we are going to do. All right. So basically, this way we make sure that we did this all of these things, and then we added the test cases as well. So yeah, this is perfectly fine, I think. We added this test cases and then we added this. So simply let's add one more thing saying that if there is an exception, the value is, let's say, the more than we did. So let's say the account is exists given the payment amount, okay, more than limit when apply, then raise payment amount not valid, not let's say exit max payment amount exit exception, something like that. Then raise max payment amount exit exception. Okay, so in that case, everything would be fine. Here I'll be saying that the payment amount is more than this 10. So what we can say that the big decimal of value of 20 or something like that, decimal that value of 20L or something like that. Okay, so this way we did the thing, and in this case it should be yes, it exists, fine, 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 it checks and then it does, and then this is not ascending equals. So what it would be doing is like ascertains that assert throws, I think. So yeah, so what class it will be throwing is the max payment amount exceeded class, and then when, yes, whenever trying to execute this, right? So this one we will be supplying this. So, so yeah, there will be no call for the save, and then times, yeah, it will check everything was valid. Let's verify this. Okay. So we make sure that we cover the two different scenario where the payment amount is exceeded, and then also we can add the similar kinds of thing again if we like to check that if there is no when the payment with invalid sender account, then account not found exception should be raised, right? So account not found exceptions should be there. So these are the possible scenarios that we're trying to build. So that's why we're writing the use cases. So in this case, exist, then true, false, something like that. So we don't have to worry about any other cases because initially there is no sender account. So in this case, it will raise the account not found exception, and we are done. So the times will be just only one time, and there will be no any other checks. So this way we also verify the okay. What's the problem? But was the illegal format conversion exception? No. Why? Hmm. Oh, okay. I think the account not found exception of the same number. So, okay, yeah, this is the thing. Fine. We have this as part of the test, which is pretty cool. All right. So we added this test as well. So in this way, we added, let's say, the payment use case and payment use case mm, code into this payment use case and then verified using the test cases. Okay, guys, I think we're done. Yeah, and the last thing, if you let's just start the application and then let's try to run it, or even let's say if we just do the Maven clean install, it will verify the things for us. Um, okay. Eventually, I will be adding or we will be adding this integration test as well for this thingy. Okay. All right. So, okay. So we haven't written the implementation of this. So yeah, exactly. We need to write the implementation. So basically, we have two different methods that we have added. So let's basically go inside this and then we can simply add boolean exist by what is the account number, right? So account number and then give the account number. We're done with this. Boolean exist by account number and status, right? So I think status. So okay, string account number and account status. Yeah, fine. So yeah, these are basically the columns inside this and the account number and status. So we are just doing the query out of it and we are just getting the boolean result out of it. So yeah, because we are just interested to check if this guy exists or not. So basically what we can do from here is like jpa.exist by sorry jpa repository account number we are done, and then here as well jpa repository exists by account number and then the status, and we are done. So we check the couple of exists by account number and status, sorry. Okay, so in this way we are done as well. So let's run the thingy now. So basically we provided this as a yeah, we can define this configuration in this file as well. In this way, whenever the Spring annotation processor picks this up, Spring Boot configuration, I mean annotation processor picks this up, then it will show us as let's say uh, the suggestions. All right. So all right. So doing this, I think we are good to go here. Okay. If we like to check the things after browsing the application, the Swagger, we can do that as well. So basically, we did a validation for the accounts and status. That's it. So this guy is interested with the status that it will be processing. Uh, so open status is needs for both of the accounts. All right. So he's saying that my okay, maybe I was running something from somewhere. Yeah, it's running from here. All right. So let me just start from here again. So we added couple of validations. We added the things for us. Yeah, the pretty cool. Like we have added the couple of validations, and then, for example, let's say I wanted to explain one thing here, right? This is the validation that we cannot externalize. We cannot facilitate the transfer of account number that is not exist in our system, right? But this is the validation that we can externalize, and this is the validation that we can externalize. Sorry, this is the validation that we can externalize, and this is the validation. These both of the things we can externalize because eventually we can say that if there is account, but if that is of any status, let's say even closed or on any other status, then even your banks allows to receive the money out of it, or let's say the receive money of multiple account status, something like that. Then this is something that your bank is specific, not your business specific or something like that. So, and those kinds of rules can be externalized and can be externalized very beautifully using the rules, okay, or some other rules engine as well. But the rules like that cannot be externalized. You cannot give users to facilitate, or let's say to say that I'll give the transfer without account number. So this is the differences between the let's say externalizing the things even from your business So currently we'll be writing everything inside our domain, but end of this video series, we will be externalizing some of the tools from our use case to the different modules, saying that this is the bank specific implementation, and we can do that way, so that our business still works, and then the banks can configure the things the way they want to be. All right, guys, I think the application started. Let's create quickly two accounts just to see the things. Okay. So yeah, this is the one account which is in NRS, and then I will be just creating another account. Let's say the uh, okay, just add one, execute. So we have created two accounts, and then let's go back to the transfer payment transfer. Try it out. So you want to do the, let's say the, yeah, one from, an amount is, if you just, let's say the accounts that exist, but you should be getting some error here. Yeah, it's a 500 enter error because we haven't handled yet. So this is the last thing that we will be needing of, I think. So let's, if you go back to this, so payment exceeded the max around 1,000. So in this case, I think we can have one base class for everything instead of having this, let's say. So let me just define one, let's say payment exceptions, or yeah, payment exception, or base exception, or something like that. Um, okay, so yeah, which would be an abstract class, so that it cannot be initialized. And then here, what we can do is like we have the public base exception, basically with the message. All right, so with the message, and then we'll say that this will go to the super, which is the message, and this guy will extend from the runtime exception. Okay, and then saying that every this message will extend from the base exception, not from the uh, runtime exception. So that pretty much fine. So base exception or something like that. So, and going back to our controller exception handler or something like that, where was that? We can simply cast this now. And instead of saying account not found, we can simply cast base exception and then say that uh, please cast this thingy for me, and then return the message out of it. So if you take a look again, basically all of these errors will be cast, and then the bad request will be sent, because user is trying to do the transfer more than the maximum value that we have in our system, right? So this eventually a bad request. Execute, execute. We have two different accounts. Oh, sorry, yeah. So you get the error is something like that. We can beautify it. So I was trying to create the same account two times, so it should fail, which is perfectly fine. And then here, so is open, status account number is this. So going back to the payment transfer, saying from this and that, if I do the execute, it should give me the still 500 error. Why? Among this, no, I cast this, right? So payment, this not found exception. Okay, so but I wanted to cast this class, so anything starts from this class should be cast, I think. We can we have the exception handler for this particular class. Okay, so and then I'm going to cast this class. So basically, it should be, I think it should be. I restarted the application, right? So okay, I'll take a look on this. Eventually, it should cast this class. Okay, so we'll see this thingy later. For now, I'll just add couple of annotations. Eventually, the base class should be cast, I think. So I'll just add these things for now, but I'll take a look why this is not being cast. Okay, so now is we have the controller advice, we cast the base expressions, and then we try to throw it. It doesn't work. Now we cast the actual exception and then try to throw it. I think it will work, but I think casting the base exception should also work. I'll check on that and then get back to you guys. What was the issue? Okay. Or you guys also can take a look and try it out and then see what was the issue there. Mm. So this is the one, this is the two. So we have two accounts, and then going back to the transfer account, execute. So we should be have max payment not found exception. I can no. Why? Maybe I'm refreshing this, right? So maybe this is the same exception that this is crazy, you know. The payment exception, this is the from here. So this guy throws this exception, and then I'm being called from the payment transfer. Payment transfer. I think my new classes are being non payment controller. There is problem with the loading the new classes. Uh, if they are compiled or not. So let me. Otherwise, it should be cast. Yeah, of course. The exception is from here, and it should be cast. Yeah, payment controller, you know. So this is why we have the controller advice. So let me just do the clean install one more time. And then in the exception handler, we are giving the value of this account not found, account not closed, payment not found, exception, max payment not found, exception, something like that. So basically, it should handle the things for me. Yeah. Let me just do the make, okay? I'll run the jar directly instead of from the IntelliJ. Sometimes IntelliJ does not takes my changes. Yeah, it's very sometimes. So let's verify things from here. Mm, try it out. Or even we can say that simply try it out, and then say that this guy tried to. So we should be having, yeah, you see, now it's working. So basically that was the problem. So even the base exception will work. So we can simply revert back the thing, base exception, and then give the base exception to this class and see, okay? So basically it was the account not found. I'm going to remove this. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to make let's say clean install, ambient clean install. Cool. And then I'll do the make. I'm directly running the jar from my target, okay? Because there is some issue with my IntelliJ. It's not taking the thing. All right. Let's try it out and try it out, try it out, and then try it out. Yeah, you see? So it works having the basic exception as well. Okay, guys, I think this is it for today. Mm, Payment use case. All right, so yeah, this is it for today. And next video we'll be adding the I think these charges sections or any other validation, something like that. Just what this diagram tells us. Okay, so yeah, we'll be adding the charges, the zonal voucher accounting, and this and that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in next video. Thank you.